San Francisco, one of the most beautiful cities on the planet. But did you know it can be budget friendly and family friendly too? Today we are going to look at 10 of the many budget friendly places to hang out or ride in San Francisco, with or without family. Enjoy the adventure. Number 1. Muir Woods, Sausalito. Whether you're a tree enthusiast or not, Muir Woods is a great place within the Bay Area to see grand coastal redwoods that are nearly 1,000 years old. This enchanted forest sits on 558 acres in Sausalito, just north of San Francisco in Marin County. This lush forest sits on federally protected land that has been a national monument since 1908. This suburban jungle is filled with 6 miles of hiking trails and majestic ancient redwoods. It even has a waterfall. There are various tours through Muir Woods that can be found through a basic internet search. There is a park entrance fee of $15 per person for those over 16. Children under 16 are free. Parking is by reservation only and is $9 for a standard vehicle. There is also a shuttle available for $3.50 a person round trip. Children under 16 ride for free. Please be aware there is no cell or Wi-Fi available within the park. Number 2. Chinatown. Chinatown is one of the oldest and most established immigrant neighborhoods in the United States. In 1851, the first Chinese hand laundry was established on the corner of Washington and DuPont Streets. In 1853, the name Chinatown was bestowed upon it by the press at the time. By 1880, Chinese laundries and fruit and vegetable stands made up the growing population of 7,500. Bordered by Broadway, Kearny, and Powell Streets, this small 2 square mile area is a must-see for any tourist or regular local. Chinatown is a mix of exotic cultural flavor, steeped in tradition, which resonates into modern times. If you are looking for good food, shopping, or just plain curious elements to Western eyes, Chinatown is for you. There are parking lots all over and within close proximity to Chinatown. Expect to pay $6 to $20 for 2 hours of parking. Public transit is also available from different locations by bus. Walking through Chinatown is a great way to burn off calories after that noon meal of dim sum. Number 3. Bay Cruise. If you want to catch beautiful glimpses or long views of the bay on a budget, Bay Cruises may be the thing for you. There are a few different ways to do this. The cheapest way is to ride the San Francisco ferries to Sausalito or Oakland. The ticket price is $5.75 to $8.50 for a one-way ride. These amazing ferries serve commuters in general, but serve as a great cheap way to view the bay. Another way for the light pocketbook crowd to move through great views is to take the San Francisco tour and cruise boats. These boats offer a minor cruise that lasts about an hour for $40 per person. These boats are comfortable. You can ride inside or outside, and they bring you very close to Alcatraz for maximum viewing. Both boats leave close to Pier 39, so parking should be a breeze. The Pier 39 area has street parking by Ghirardelli Square, which is metered, or a public garage that has a walkway to Pier 39. Street parking is around $2.50 per hour, and garage parking runs around $15 per hour. Select restaurants at Pier 39 offer ticket validation for 2 hours. Number 4. Pier 39. Pier 39 is without doubt one of San Francisco's best attractions. Not only is it family friendly, but it has excellent restaurants, entertainment for the kids, views, shopping for the adults, and best of all, seals. Pier 39 was created by a local entrepreneur in 1978 who had a vision of buildings that would house shopping, restaurants, and a dive pool on the waterfront. Some of the original restaurants still exist today. If you want to visit history, visit the original Pier 39 restaurants: the Pier Market Seafood Restaurant, the Eagle Cafe, and the Swiss Louis Italian and Seafood Restaurant. The dive pool was filled in the early 80s to make way for the 2-story carousel that we see today. In 1990, sea lions began to occupy the Pier 39 city floats. Over the years, the population has been known to grow to 1,700 at times. The Sea Lion Center opened in the late 2000s at Pier 39, which offers information to help the public learn about conservation and California sea lion populations. Pier 39 has its own garage with a walkway to the waterfront complex. The price is around $15 per hour, and there is a 2-hour validation offered with participating restaurants. There is also abundant street parking for around $2.50 an hour. Number 5. The Painted Ladies. The Painted Ladies of San Francisco have their name origin in the book The Painted Ladies of San Francisco by writers Elizabeth Pomade and Michael Larson in 1978. The book chronicles this extravagant row of Victorian and Edwardian houses on the east side of Alamo Square Park in the Western Addition neighborhood on Steiner Street. This row of beautiful homes occupying 710 to 720 Steiner Street is often referred to as Postcard Row or the Seven Sisters. With all due credit, you can find striking, ornate, and colorful houses from the Victorian and Edwardian era all over San Francisco. We will look at a number of these in an upcoming video. That being said, this stunning picturesque view of Victorian and Edwardian homes have also made it to commercial film and series view more than once as individual homes and as a full row. These houses were built between 1892 and 1896, fronting Alamo Square Park, by a local developer. The reference to whether a house is Victorian or Edwardian refers not just to the style in modern terms, but also to the ruling Queen Victoria I who passed during this period, and her son King Edward of England, who became her successor. There is plentiful free street parking on most side and Main Street around Alamo Square. These homes are a must-see on your visit, and you can take the kids to the playground and park while you are there. Number 6. Fort Point. Fort Point is an ex-Civil War Army fort which was completed in 1861. This magnificent structure is located on the northernmost point of the old Presidio Army base in San Francisco, beneath the beautiful Golden Gate Bridge. The fort's original name was Castillo de San Joaquin. This brick fort was constructed and completed as a response to the looming threat from the Confederate Army ships during the Civil War. The fort was under the threat of being demolished in the 1930s as the Golden Gate Bridge was being planned. Fortunately, the engineer that drew plans for the bridge was fond of the unique building structure and designed the bridge around the fort. The north side of Fort Point along the coast is where the 1958 movie Vertigo filmed Kim Novak's scene of entering the water. Fort Point is not only a California treasure, but became a National Historic Site during the Nixon administration in the 1970s. There is no cost to enter and view this beautiful brick fort. There is a large free parking lot in front of the fort and along the beach beside it. There is also paid options for around $2.50 per hour in the Crissy Field parking lot in the adjacent area. Number 7. Mount Davidson. Mount Davidson is the highest hill in San Francisco at 928 feet. This beautiful hill is framed by the Diamond Heights, Twin Peaks, and Glen Park neighborhoods. Mount Davidson is famous for its hiking trails, but also famous for the concrete cross. This first version of this amazing monument was constructed in 1923 as a temporary structure. This cross met an ill fate from fire 2 years later in 1925. It was then established that a more permanent cross was necessary for the area. In 1929, a stucco cross was constructed, but it met the fate of fire as well. In 1934, a permanent 103-foot-tall concrete and steel cross was finally erected on the site. This is the cross we see today. It is hard to imagine, but this cross has been steeped in much controversy over the years, with much opposition from other religious groups for being owned by the city. It was this opposition that convinced the city to sell the land and cross to the Armenian American Organization of Northern California. It was upon this purchase that the cross received a plaque at its base memorializing the victims of the Armenian genocide in 1915. This cross is still very popular today for religious ceremonies and holidays, even though the original plaque has long since been replaced after the first was stolen. Mount Davidson is mostly city-owned park, so you may view or explore the greenery and trails during the day. There is also free abundant street parking in the adjacent residential neighborhoods. Number 8, Ocean Beach. Ocean Beach is well loved by tourists and locals alike. This 3.5 miles of oceanfront in San Francisco with fog, sun, and sand dunes borders the Sunset, Richmond, Golden Gate Park neighborhoods to the east and the Great Highway and the Cliff House Sutro area to the north. The Ocean Beach area was known early as part of the Outside Lands. In 1884, development began in the area after introduction of the steam railroad. After the 1906 earthquake, this area was used to harbor refugees. The real developments in housing began in the 1920s and 30s with the construction of the Great Highway and the Sunset and Richmond districts. These residential homes span much of the Great Highway and are what we see mostly today. Ocean Beach is a great place to build sandcastles or partially bury various items. Be sure to bring a shovel and pail. Even though the water is treacherous and often dangerous, if you are lucky, you might get to see some surfers on a sunny day. There is free parking in the lots along and above the Great Highway. Number 9, the Japanese Tea Garden. The Japanese Tea Garden is a beautiful garden dedicated to Japanese culture inside of Golden Gate Park. This beautiful garden was created originally as part of the Japanese Village in the 1894 World's Fair and is the oldest of its kind in the United States. The Japanese Tea Garden is 5 acres and contains buildings, sculptures, elements of water, rocks and greenery, all influenced by the Buddhist sect of Japanese culture. This beautiful, lush square of serenity will relax your senses and ease your mind. You can cross wooden bridges, stroll past koi ponds, hang out at the pagoda, or view any of the specialty trees or plants, or just sit and have tea. The fee to enter is $10 for adults and free to $7 for the children. There is plentiful but competitive street parking for free in the area. There is also a city garage that operates at city rates of $5 per hour. There are also numerous options for bus routes and private service cars that drop you off right in front of the gardens. Number 10, Haight Street. Haight Street is a colorful street in the Haight-Ashbury district. This neighborhood is most famous for the counterculture movement of the 1960s. The hippie counterculture influence on music and on the district can still be seen and felt today. The nice part about this district is that it has remained mostly the same since the 1960s. It is easy to visit any place that you have read about during the 1960s. It is amazing to know that you are standing in front of buildings that once housed some of America's best musicians. Haight Street is fun because the whole street in Upper Haight is filled with colorful, mystic, historic, and unique shops. If you love color and history, this place is where it's at. While in Haight, you can find really good restaurants, browse CDs and records and Amoeba music, or visit any of the historic homes that once housed America's best rock and roll legends. Street parking is competitive in the Haight Street district. You can expect to pay San Francisco meter rates around $2.50 per hour. Thank you so much for watching today. Please like and subscribe. Have a nice day.